Hey Astro Kids, and welcome back. And this will be my interpretation of what it looks like to have Rahu in your 6th house, Ketu in your 12th house. Let's go ahead and jump right into this. So before we get into Rahu in the 10th house and Ketu in the 4th house, we first have to understand who these entities are. So Rahu and Ketu are actually the same entity. They are one, and they are coming from the story of the churning of the ocean of milk, where there was a great battle between the Devatas and the Asuryas, and there were many casualties on both sides. So the Devatas were looking for a solution to this problem. And they found that the solution was to churn this great ocean. And from this churning, there were many gifts that came up from the ocean. And one of these was the solution to their problem, which was the amrita, the nectar that gives immortality. And so the plan was for the Devatas to gain the assistance of the Asuryas to churn this great ocean, but the Amrita was only for the Devatas. And as the Amrita came up from the ocean, the Asuryas quickly grabbed it and ran. And so Vishnu came in and gave support to the Devatas by disguising himself as a beautiful woman named Mohini. And he was able to trick the Asuryas. He charmed them with his attractive looks through this Mohini figure while secretly giving the Devatas the Amrita behind his back. But there was one Asurya that did not fall for this, by the name of Swarabhanu. And Swarabhanu knew that there was something going on. And so he disguised himself as one of the Devatas and sat next to the sun and moon, and he was able to get a drop of the elixir before he was caught by the sun and the moon. They exposed him as an imposter, and as a result, Vishnu beheaded him. And usually, as Vishnu beheads an entity, the entity is liberated. But because this Asurya took a drop of the elixir, part of him became immortal, but another part of him became stuck in this reincarnating cycle. And so he was trapped in the reincarnating cycle here on Earth. And this is what this dynamic of Ketu and Rahu is all about. Rahu is representing this incarnation. It is what brings us into this world. Rahu is very worldly. It's all about our desires, our ambitions, about the things of the outside world. Rahu is an extroverted energy. Rahu also is about our destiny, our purpose. It is our unfulfilled desire that we are drawn towards in this lifetime. We have karma that we were not able to fulfill in a previous life, and this is where Rahu is taking us towards. But at the same time, if we lean too far into this desire, we can become obsessed and over-attached in this area, which leads to disappointment and misfortune. So in this way, Rahu is also about illusion and deception. Ketu is the liberated half of this being, the tail of the serpent, which is all about our past life experience, our roots, our foundation, where we are coming from. It is all about the past. And Ketu is related to deeper truths, to research, to analysis, to digging deep below the surface to find deeper meaning. Ketu is detached and dissociated from this material existence. And so in that way, where Ketu is in our charts, we have a tendency to detach in that area, to neglect that area, to abandon that area. But at the same time, because Ketu is our root, it is the source from where we are coming from, we also have a feeling of comfort and safety in that area, where we tend to escape back into that area when Rahu becomes overwhelming for us. So it is a back and forth dance between these two positions of Rahu and Ketu until we are able to learn these karmic lessons to balance these two areas. So it is very important that we are understanding the lessons of Rahu and Ketu as far as where they are placed within our natal charts. So what happens when Ketu is in your 12th house, Rahu in your 6th house? Well, this is a very interesting position because both Ketu and Rahu are happy within this axis of the 6th and 12th house. Ketu loves being in the 12th house because it is all about liberation, spirituality, escapism. So this is where Ketu loves to be, as Ketu is all about this journey towards liberation and spiritual enlightenment. Rahu also loves to be in the 6th house because it is all about dealing with our daily obstacles. And Rahu is very worldly. It is all about this material existence. So both of these are very much happy where they are positioned. However, there are obstacles with this placement. So just a quick disclaimer that how this will play out will be according to how you have this positioned within your natal chart. Are there any planets conjunct with the nodes? Are there any planets aspecting? This will make a huge difference. You also want to see the dignity of Rahu and Ketu in your D9 Navamsa chart. So a lot of factors that we have to see to understand how these nodes will play out personally for you. But in general, Ketu in this 12th house is going to give you a strong inclination towards spirituality, towards meditation, towards occult and mystical subjects, all about deep introspection, going inward. With this position, you can be a very mysterious person, an introvert, all about being in your own space. And you can even come off as very difficult to understand to other people. Ketu in the 12th house can give you a huge imagination. You can have vivid dreams with this position, and you can also get messages through your dreams. So this is an excellent placement to keep a dream journal. Ketu in this 12th house is definitely going to give you a huge deal of intuition and imagination, but it is important that you're able to discern the difference between your intuition and your imagination. At times, this can be a position where you daydream and drift off into a world of your own. This can also be a placement, though, that can take you towards your spiritual progress, especially when you come into the Mahadasha of Ketu. This can give you deep insights and can have you really tapping into those abilities of gaining access to the astral plane, of really tapping into your intuition. So this is a very powerful position for your spirituality. Ketu in the 12th house, though, can take you into escapism, and so you can get lost in your dreams and fantasies and lose touch with the real world. And so this becomes a difficult position where you are escaping all of the routine and everyday factors of life. Ketu in the 12th house can get you very much interested in foreign travel, where you are interested in exploring, interested in moving to different locations, but this also can give difficulties around travel sometimes as well. This also is a very restless placement, so you can be a wanderer with this Ketu 12th house. And along with this, the 12th house represents the bedroom. So this can also be a position where you are having disturbed sleep patterns. And so it's important that you're finding some sort of discipline or routine that can help you with your sleep habits. Ketu in this position can actually make you someone who likes to work at night, or someone who likes to put a lot of focus and energy into your pursuits during the nighttime, because Ketu is a fiery planet like Mars. So it gives you a lot of energy in this 12th house that is related to the bedroom. With Ketu in this 12th house, you can be dealing with hidden enemies, but you have a very strong intuition, so you're able to figure out who these opponents are, and you're able to deal with this in a positive way. And we'll talk more about that with Rahu being in your 6th house, with this ability to overcome enemies and obstacles. Ketu in the 12th house can sometimes get you into this escapism habit of indulging into your sensory pleasures. And so this can be a very difficult position of overindulgence of all sorts of habits around escapism. And this will depend ultimately on how everything is placed within your chart. If you are leaning more towards the spiritual, more towards the material, this will dictate how you are trying to escape through this 12th house. With Ketu in the 12th house, you also can be losing energy. At times you can feel drained, exhausted with this Ketu in the 12th. This can also be a position where at times you are losing possessions, where you are losing your grip or hold on possessions, this can take place with Ketu in this 12th house. Again, there's a tendency to detach or dissociate from the physical everyday environment. During this Ketu Mahadasha especially, you will see aspects over to your 4th and 8th house that become active. So at this time, you may move location because the 8th house is all about sudden events and the 4th house is about your home and property. So you may come into a sudden event in your life that is putting you in a position to change location. Ketu onto this 4th house also can create some difficulties around your connection with your mother. This can be a position where there are challenges and obstacles in the relationship to the mother, or there can even be some sort of separation or loss around your connection with your mother. This can also create some strange circumstances or difficult circumstances around your birth and your early childhood years. So Ketu in this 4th house can create a situation where you are feeling a lack of support, a lack of that emotional support that you're looking for. And so this can also be a bit of a lonely placement, a detached placement where you are all about going into your own space. As Ketu aspects onto the 8th house, again, this is going to give a huge interest in the occult and mystical subjects. This can also make you an excellent detective, researcher, anything that is involved in digging for deep and hidden information. You are interested in the deeper meaning of life, uncovering all of the mysteries and secrets. This aspect onto the 8th house, though, can also disturb your relationship. It can create difficulties around your in-laws, around shared resources. There can be all sorts of conflicts popping up in this area. With Ketu in the 12th house, this also can disturb your mental health at times. There can be, again, a lot of daydreaming and fantasies happening, but this can also create paranoia and fears within the mind. And so typically with Ketu in this 12th house, this can give you some trust issues, all sorts of fears and things taking place within the mind. There can be imaginary fears or obstacles that you are perceiving within the mind as well. So again, it is very important that you're able to discern the difference between your imagination and your intuition. This can also be a position where if you are finding faith, if you are trusting in your intuition, this can help you to sort out these conflicts within this 12th house. It also can be difficult to let go of the past with Ketu here because this 12th house is all about letting go. And Ketu is about what you are holding on to from your previous incarnation. And so for some of you, when you are having difficulties within your life, you can hold on to those situations. And so this is all about forgiveness, about letting go, about being able to move on from the past and accept that that is a part of the past rather than making it a part of your present experience. And so it's very important with this position to get out of the head at times and to come back into your physical body, which brings us to Rahu in the 6th house. So with Rahu in the 6th house, this is an excellent position because although Rahu can bring you many difficulties within your life, Rahu also gives you the ability to overcome those obstacles. Rahu is powerful here in this 6th house because Rahu is very ambitious, wants to strive forward, wants to go outside the box. So this gives you a tremendous amount of strength. And of course, Rahu is a malefic planet, and this is an Upachaya house. So typically these challenging malefic planets do very well in these challenging karmic houses. So Rahu here is going to help you to overcome many obstacles. And there can be obstacles in all areas of your life with Rahu coming into this 6th house. You can find that you are getting into situations of debt, disputes, finding a lot of competition, health issues, domestic issues, once again around the mother, also around the father as Rahu is aspecting onto the 10th house. So there's a lot of obstacles that are popping up through this position of Rahu. Rahu in the 6th house can make you very much interested in your health, your diet, and this can be excellent for finding new solutions, new ways to improve your health and overall well-being. You can be very interested in things like yoga, vitamins, meditation. This can get you into all sorts of health-related practices. Rahu here can also give you miraculous solutions around health issues. You can find the right doctor, you can find the right medicine to solve all of your problems. And you can have some difficulties around your health that can suddenly be cured overnight. So there can be all sorts of miraculous situations around your health. Of course, Rahu rules over medicine, and the sixth house is about healing. So this is an area, once again, that Rahu feels very comfortable in. You do want to be careful though, because Rahu, as it aspects onto your sixth house, can also get you into some ill habits around addiction. So as Rahu rules over drugs, this is all about using medicines to cure illnesses, to help you with health-related difficulties. This can give you all sorts of unique and out-of-the-box solutions to your health problems. Sometimes Rahu in the sixth house can make you a vegetarian as well, because the sixth house has to do with the stomach, and Rahu is very unconventional, so this can make your diet also unconventional as well. This is an excellent position with Rahu being here to try out new diets, to try out new habits, to not be afraid to explore different possibilities of how to deal with your everyday life and to resolve solutions. Rahu here in this sixth house, though, health-wise, can also give you some issues related to your stomach. So this is, again, going to give you some health difficulties, but also solutions as to how to deal with this. Rahu in the sixth house can make you a healer yourself as well. You can be excellent at dealing with other people's ailments and problems. This can be a position where other people feel attracted to you and seek you out for your help and guidance. So you can be in any sort of healing profession. You could be a doctor, a therapist. You could be in alternative healing, especially as Rahu is very unconventional here. Rahu in this position can also make you a healer in the sense that you are resolving problems for people. So you can be involved in the legal field. You can be involved in any sort of activism, any sort of social causes. This is an excellent position for helping others. You do want to be careful about the company that you keep though, because Rahu in this sixth house can attract all sorts of people to you, and some of these people can even be criminals, underhanded people, so you want to be very careful about who you are inviting into your space. Rahu in this sixth house can also make you someone who is very argumentative, very much able to argue your way out of situations. So you can be excellent in anything that is involved in debate. This gives you profound intelligence here in this sixth house to resolve any sort of conflict. Rahu in the sixth house can help you in your career as well. Rahu here can make you very organized, very much able to sort out all sorts of details, very disciplined, very much about routine in this area. And once again, this will especially be true during your Rahu Mahadasha. Rahu here in this sixth house can give you all sorts of opportunities around your career as it aspects onto the 10th house. So you may have difficulties within your career, but there's always a solution that is right around the corner. And this can give you some great ideas about how to think outside of the box in your career, which can also make this position excellent for business. Rahu in this sixth house can also make you very courageous, very much able to handle challenges and obstacles. You are a natural risk taker with this position. So if you're moving towards Rahu, this can help you in all sorts of areas within your life. This can be an exceptional position where you actually can find a great deal of excitement through resolving challenges and obstacles. This, though, can give a lot of difficulties at a younger age. So this is something that tends to improve with time, where you can find many difficulties early in life, but you start to get used to this position with time. Rahu here in this sixth house can give you all sorts of issues if you are holding on again with Ketu in that sixth in that 12th house. If you're holding on to the past, if you're holding on to grudges, if you're holding on to pride, to ego, this can cause you difficulties where you can find yourself going downward and getting into situations of loss. And so it is all about letting go. It's all about being able to face the problems of life in a healthy way. Rahu in the 6th also can help you with your finances. As I've said, Rahu in the 6th house can give you difficulties around debts. But as Rahu aspects onto the 2nd house of your finances, you are able to sort this out. You can get situations where you acquire financial gains suddenly, faster than you expected, and this can help you a great deal. Rahu in the 6th house is very hardworking, so your hard work can give you all sorts of solutions that can help you in this area. Rahu, as it aspects onto the 2nd house, also can give you a powerful way of speaking, again helping you in this area of debates and dealing with conflicts.